and instead of cutting it at the cut line, I'm gonna cut it here, where the material enters in. Now I've got my 44-inch piece. It hadn't been sitting in paste. It's not falling apart. And then when I go to want to pull my next piece, I just load it, repeat the same process that I just did. Okay. Still a little low on paste here.
Again?
Yeah, just something.
God. Yeah, you get new help.
Okay, so drop match. We're gonna run over to a drop match. So same. What you want to do when you're working with a drop match, one of the first things you want. I think we're good. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, we're good. So one of the first things you want to do is figure out if you're going to have to change between your A roll and B roll. When you're cutting on your table, when you're cutting for, if you're just cutting out on your table, you're going to swap rolls at a certain point so you're not wasting material. You cut an A, and if your next pattern, your next ceiling line comes up on that roll, you go ahead and get your B. But if you're going to have to skip, over, to get to your B, if you're going to have to skip over an A to get to a B, then you swap rolls. You get your B off of another roll, and you just swap back and forth, right? When you're cutting on a table, same principle here. So you've got a half drop match. The half is going to be half. You've got a 25-inch vertical repeat, 12 and a half. You get that just dividing your vertical repeat by 2. And so we're going to go ahead and look at, what our subsequent B panels are going to be. Your B panel is just going to be that 25 divided by 2, 12 and a half, and then add the vertical repeat back into it, right? So you add 12 and a half, you have 25 to 12 and a half, it gives you 37 and a half. Add 25 to that, gives you 62 and a half, so forth and so on, right? So, in our first example, we're going to go ahead and we're going to assume we have a 50-inch wall. So we need 54-inch panels, right? So if I'm cutting these 54, as it comes off the roll, as it's counting off on the counter, then I cut that off at 54. As it's coming off from a roll, my B top is going to come up next, right? Because it's going to be at 62 and a half. It's not going to be an A, it's going to be a B. So I don't have to change rolls. So we're going to go ahead and look at that.
Just have a little extra on top, right?
Right, you're going to have that waste anyway if you're cutting it on the table or on a machine. So again, I'm taking my A. Pull it around to my notch. Zero it out. And I'm going to cut to 54. Okay, so here, if you've worked with the machine before, you're going to be tempted to clear your counter out. That's what's going to mess you up. You don't clear your counter at this point. So you want to get to your B, right? So you just cut that piece 54. You want to get to your B, which is going to be at 62 and a half, right? So I don't clear my counter. I keep pulling till I get to 62 and a half. And now I'm at my B. So that puts me on. So in this scenario, I can go A, B, A, B. Now this is, if I was pulling a non-woven and I was on a straight wall, you don't necessarily have to do this. I just pull 2 A's and then pull a B. But if I'm in a material that I have to work sequentially, I don't want it sitting, it's going to freeze up, then this is the way you can do it. And what I've told everybody so far is that I'm not trying to so much teach you how to do this as much as I'm trying to show you it can be done. There's other ways to do this. This is my way, but it's not the way. But it can be done, and this is this is a method you can do it. So we're gonna take that example, and like I said, the 2 variables when you're pulling drops is the length of your panel and your vertical pattern repeat. So in example number 2, same vertical pattern repeat, 25 inches, half drop, but a 60-inch wall instead of a 50-inch wall, right? Okay, so now we're cutting our panel 64, we're adding our 4 inches to the 60. Now we're going past that 62. So the next thing coming up on the roll is not going to be a B, it's going to be an A. And so to get a B, I'd have to skip over that A, waste all that material to get to a B. So in this case, I'm gonna wanna change my rolls, okay? Okay, so new room, new scenario, we're gonna start back over at A. I'm gonna put a little tick mark right there above an A. Pull to my A. All right, so 60-inch wall, we need a 64-inch piece. We're back to math. What was our distance from here to here? 13 inches. So we need a 64-inch piece. 64 minus 13 is? Steven's gonna get it every time. Who said 51?
Is it?
51? Okay, so yes, 51. All right, so pizza cutter, best pizza cutter you'll ever have. So we're gonna pull this 51 because we need to change our rolls. We're gonna swap from an A roll to a B roll. So I'm gonna pull this, I'm gonna clear my counter out, pull it to 51. I'm gonna cut it at the bottom point and pull it through, and now I have a 64-inch pound. And then I swap my rolls. So it's the same principle that you would use pasting on a, cutting and pasting on a table, but just faster and quicker. So that's how you determine your A and B rolls. So trying to think of the other thing that I was hoping to have time to do when we're talking about barriers and using a pasting machine. The other thing that comes up mostly is okay, the time that I save, I'm gonna waste in cleaning this thing. So I wanted to address that. I'm not gonna have time to do that, but I am gonna stick around after all this is over and kind of go over. We don't clean our machine every day. We don't clean our machine every week.